Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Twin Ready Registry. I am Natalie Diaz, founder of Twiniversity and Big Cheese over here. Our plan is to make sure that you guys have not only enough stuff, but the right stuff. Because when you have 20s, people truthfully do, you guys overpurchase. You guys overbuy way too much stuff. And I say a lot in lactation that if your grandmother didn't have it, you don't need it. But when it comes to gear in general, it's always nice to make sure that you have the stuff that you really need and determine the stuff that you want and then determine the stuff that it's nice to have. So if you have not already, I know quite a few of you guys have already gotten, we have a twin ready gear guide that is, I mean, it is multiple pages, but it's really filled with checklists and stuff. And so the way that we sort our checklist is we basically put like must-haves. I don't know if you could see that, but like the items that are must-haves, we literally tell you that it's a must-have. But then we have color coded it. Well, I have a black and white copy today because I lost my spiral copy. I left it in Florida, to be very honest with you. But we have color coded things for you so that you know exactly what you really need, what you should have, and what you should basically just leave in a store. So without further ado, I am going to get started. Okay, guys? So we're going to start off first of all by telling you this is what you need to have for this class. So whether you're rewatching the playback later on YouTube or you're joining me live right now, you should always have some water because you guys really do need to stay hydrated. I would certainly recommend that you have a pen and paper old school style and grab your phone if you're not watching it on your phone because we're going to give you some QR codes that you're probably going to want. So that's the kind of the stuff that you need. Now, as far as who I am, this is who I am. So this is going to be our first little game of the day, and we do kind of play games because this is how I entertain myself. All these things, all these kind of little icons that we have here, out of what you guys think, what do I
Nice.
represent to you?
I'll go bedtime.
So let me know. So if you are right now, if you're like, okay, she is, look at a twin mom, I'm going to give you guys a clue that is a given. But what, in your opinion, do I represent to you? So which out of those icons? I'll give you another clue. I definitely don't know how to fix cars. And I will tell you that the week before last, not last week, but the week before last, I went to go get gas and I never screwed the thing back in. So I actually drove home with the cap dangling. I don't know how I did that or what, you know why I did that? Because I thought it was one of those card readers. And here in New York, they love to steal a good credit card. It's their favorite thing to do. But I drove around forever with my stupid gas thingy out. And I don't know how anybody didn't honk and tell me. So yeah, it's not that one. But out of those things, what do I represent to you? You could pop it in the chat or you could come off mic and tell me. But let's jump. I'll give you a clue. Okay, here we go. So these are the things that I actually am. So wear a lot of hats here at Twiniversity. So I am an advocate. I'm a twin parenting, really a parenting advocate in general. I am constantly on a soapbox fighting with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, gear companies, insurance companies, politicians, you name it. I fight with them to make sure that you guys have a better experience. I am an author. If you guys don't know, I've authored those two books, What to Do When You're Having Two and the Newborn Twin Sleep Guide. I am a public speaker. I have spoken all over this country in Seattle for my good friend Lauren that's there. I've been there, I've been back. I do a lot of public speaking and I always speak about parenting issues, not necessarily twin issues. I'm also a child passenger safety technician. In all sincerity, my certification is totally lapsed. Classic twin mom, forgot to send in my paperwork. So yes, will I sit again to join that whole class again? Perhaps, but until then, not so much. I am also an educator. Clearly, this is the class that you're in. I am an IBCLC, so I am an international board certified lactation consultant, twin mom, and for those of you, hearts to you guys, if you've ever listened to our Twiniversity podcast, which I know is the way that a lot of you guys found this today. So I am so happy that you are here. All right, guys. So now that you know who I am, I want to give you kind of like a timeline to make it a little bit easier for you because it is overwhelming. All right. So that's why I actually asked you guys to put in like how, big your kids are, like how many weeks pregnant you are, et cetera, et cetera. So we got 25, we got 23. Let's see what else we got over here. 19. So you guys got time to prepare, which is good. If you are over 30 weeks, do not get stressed. It is only too late if you don't start now. So let's start making a plan. So by week 12, you really need to start your homework. So for those of you that are joining us early on in your pregnancy, this is really, really the perfect time. But by week 18, also known as Abby's week, because I see that she's 18 weeks, you should start signing up for your accounts. Now, there are baby registry accounts everywhere. Amazon has one, Target has one, Babylist has one. What's the other one that there's one that I'm thinking of. My Registry has one, Walmart has one. Sign up for every single registry program. Remember, you don't have to tell everybody that you're registered everywhere. Like if you're going to have a baby shower, you might choose to send them only to Amazon or only to Babylist. However, I will tell you that Babylist isn't always right. I don't know if anybody has ever, how many of you guys, show of pause, have bought an item for a friend or family member through Babylist? Anybody? So yeah, so for those of you that have, you know that it's a little bit more of a complicated process than just buying something on Target or Amazon. So know that if you are going to use Babylist, it might not be the most accurate representation of what you're going to end up getting. So just think about that. Certainly not saying do not sign up for Babylist. Definitely sign up for everything. Plus their founders also named Natalie, which is kind of fun. So just know, sign up for everything, but you don't have to tell everybody where you're signed up. Okay. By week 19 is when you start adding those items to your registry. So we're going to talk about the things that you need to have, but by week 24, that's when you tell the world. Also, read the fine print on any place that you're registering because a lot of companies have a registry completion program, which means that you could save 10% off the items that people don't buy for you. Now, I'm not saying that you should do this, but I understand that after baby showers, people tend to add more items to their registry so that they could have that extra 10% off. So let's say you were registering for Dr. Brown's bottles. Maybe you register for 10 bottles and then you have your baby shower, you only get 8. You might want to either A, go and buy those, or B, you could even add more of those bottles or the next level bottles or the next level nipples or the next level swaddles, just so that you'll be able to have that 10% off if and when you really do need it, just in case people decided to go to, I don't know, Kohl's, or maybe they went to, TJ Maxx to buy you items that weren't necessarily on your registry. Have every possible thing on the registries that offer the registry completion program so that you could save a few bucks. All right. Because even if you have $1 billion in the bank, like legit $1 billion, if anybody does have $1 billion, please, I want to be your best friend. But if you don't have $1 billion or you do, you should save every single penny that you have because I'm telling you right now, as a mom of college age 20s, that freaking is expensive. College is really, really expensive. So if I could have saved $10 20 years ago and even just threw that into an investment account, I would have been much better off. So save every penny that you can and really think also about making sure that you guys have a budget. So show of pause too. How many of you guys sat down with your friends or family or partner and actually created a budget for baby stuff? Anybody, thumbs down if you didn't, thumbs up or hearts if you did, because I think that it is absolutely incredible that so many of you budget for cars, budget for groceries, budget for homes. Nobody budgets for baby. So it really is worth it. Like if you are just starting this process to figure out, okay, how much could we spend on a nursery, right? What if you have to buy mattresses? What if you have to buy cribs? What if you have to buy car seats? Are you able to make sure that you could afford all of those items without overspending anywhere? Okay, so I strongly recommend that today you consider creating a little baby budget and we could talk about the items that you need. The Twin Ready Gear Guide definitely gives you kind of an idea of the stuff that you need versus want, etc. But I would strongly, if you like, seriously, if you have not done it already, you guys do need to sit down and make sure that you have a budget. I just muted everybody on arrival, if that's okay. All right. So once we have our registries kind of built, like I said, we have our twin ready gear guide. So you could scan that code. So scan it now. You'll get a link in your email too. So don't get too stressed about it. But just know that we really did put this together specifically for this class. Now, when I said that you should start your homework, you could even screenshot this if you'd like right now. And also know that we have gear guides on Etsy as well. Like if you just want one page, it's all there. So there's a million ways to get this information. So right now we do have this created for you. And we made these really complete lists and we broken them down by basics, stuff for your room, stuff for feeding, stuff for on the go. What other topics do we have? I don't even know. Honestly, I love this. This is one of the best things that I think our team has created because it's really, really, really practical. In here, by the way, also we have like a third trimester checklist, a second trimester checklist, a hospital bag packing list with a QR code in there. We have links for discounts on certain items because we try to get you guys twin discounts wherever we go. But if you notice, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner right there on the screen, we have it separated into nice to have, borrow, skip it, or it could be covered by insurance. What? Yes, there's actually items that could be covered by your insurance that you're going to need for your potatoes. Okay. All right. So this is it. Wait, I guess this is more stuff that I had. I didn't even realize this was in there. So we have, like I said, bath time, playtime, on the road, clothing stuff, and let's jump right in. So week 19, we already talked about starting to build our registry. And I want to first start off and say that there really is no such thing as having enough diapers or baby wipes. Now, if you buy or if you register for a bunch of diapers, I do recommend that you get size newborn and not necessarily size one. Twinnies are typically born a little bit on the smaller side of the universe. And so, newborn diapers, depending on the newborn diaper that you guys buy, it could go up to as much as like 10 pounds. It depends, once again, on the diaper that you're buying. So, check to see, but register for plenty of newborns. Now, if you get a ton. Like, I mean that I could build like a Three Little Pigs house with all the diaper boxes that you have. Try your hardest to not open those boxes because there's a lot of places that you could return unopened diapers for the next size up. So, example, if you bring a closed package of Pampers back to Target from your Target registry, you could exchange it for a size one or a size two or a size three. But here, like for us here in New York City that have smaller apartments, which not everybody does, but I live in a teeny tiny apartment, I really, as soon as I got that box, I opened it up and like put it under the crib, stuffed it in drawers, try to like make more space. But if you can, do not do that until you actually need to open up those diapers. That way you don't have a bunch of newborn diapers that are left over. Now, remember, if you did open stuff, there's plenty of places that you could bring them. So let's say you did have an overwhelming amount of newborn diapers, you could bring them to churches, battered women's shelters, you could bring them to food pantries, you could bring them to your pediatric office. There are plenty of places that you could bring opened packages of diapers. So don't ever please throw anything out. There's always somebody that could use that. Now, next item on the list is baby wipes. When it comes to baby wipes, the funny thing is I think you guys spend way too much freaking money on baby wipes. Like legit. Like I don't even understand how you're spending so much money. The best baby wipes, Kirkland Hardcore Awesome. Believe it or not, Parents' Choice at Walmart is one of my favorite baby wipes. Like forever, for like all time. And I have held many a baby wipe. I am doing this now for 16 years, have been running Twiniversity and have been a baby gear professional for 16 years. And I have seen a million wipes in my, maybe not a million. Well, probably personally, I've seen a million wipes just in like the first 4 years of my 20s life. But I have held and tried to rip and squeezed out too much moisture, some that didn't have enough moisture. But the Walmart Parents' Choice is really great. The Kirkland baby wipes, the store brand, really fantastic. And believe it or not, Amazon. Amazon makes a really, really good baby wipe. They make a sensitive one and they make like a regular one. The sensitive one is purple. I think it's really a great baby wipe. So if you're like, hey, how can I save a few dollars? Maybe skip the big name brand wipes and just go for something that's a little bit more generic. So, baby wipes, how many do you need? there's no such amount because while diapers do have a time period that they can be used, baby wipes are going to be used up until your kids are like 6. And even then, when your kids eventually go to school, whether it's kindergarten, first grade, second grade, usually teachers are like, bring in a package of baby wipes. So you can't have too many. And that, feel free to open all those boxes, store them where you like. And if they ever dry out, let's say maybe you were opening up, the top of the box and then you pierced one of the packages, you could always just put some water in there, close the flap, put a piece of packing tape or duct tape over it, and you move right along. So baby wipes, there is no such thing. Now, if you notice on diapers, I said 150. Does anybody know why I said 150? You want to take a guess. Why do I think you need 150 diapers specifically? Go, throw it in the chat. I want to know right now what your thoughts are. Basically, you guys have to answer because every time you answer, I get to take a sip of my water. All right. Could just anybody put something in the chat? Because I'm genuinely worried. There we go. All right. So Liana said 150 is enough for 2 newborns. For how long? Hmm. So Liana, how long do we think? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's estimated that you will use, believe it or not, about 150 diapers a week. What? Yes. If you are changing your baby at every feed, yep, correctamundo. I don't want to give you sticker shock. So I'm going to tell you something about this. This is what people are using. However, this is not what you're going to use because you're smarter than that. So a lot of times people, when you guys have newborn babies, you guys change them so quick. You see a diaper, you're like, the line is yellow, the line is purple, the line is blue, whatever freaking color the line changes, you guys are changing diapers. I'm going to tell you as an IBCLC, don't change the diaper immediately. Wait till there's some heft in the diaper. If you're using any type of barrier ointment whatsoever, be it Aquaphor, be it, the Dr. Brown's cream, be it butt paste, whatever you're using, if you're using a cream or a barrier paste, just let them sit in that diaper for 2 seconds because if you change them every single time that they ate, especially when they're cluster feeding, you guys are going to be baroque. Baroque. That is the actual term. So 150, look, if we're changing 8 times a day, right? And so that's 16 diapers minimum. That's not even, I lost a tab. That's not even the minute that I opened their diaper, they did duty all over the place. So we are really looking at about 150 diapers a week that would be in your diaper bag that's in several changing spots. So just know we use a lot of diapers and this is why a lot of twin families kind of do hybrid diapering where they'll do like maybe 25% cloth diapering and 75% conventional diapers. That way you guys will save a crap ton of money. So something to think about. Not saying that, it's for everybody, but truthfully, I mean, I have a cloth diaper right behind me because I think it's a really smart thing to do if you're really worried about budgeting. Okay. Now, the next thing that we have on this list is you'll see we got burp clots, we got pacifiers, and yes, you could use pacifiers out of the gate as once again, boobologist extraordinaire. Everybody's like, I don't want to give the babies pacifiers. I'm worried about nipple confusion. Don't, please don't be confused. And remember, parents of twins use pacifiers more than parents of singletons because we have to what? Literally pacify a freaking baby while attending to the other baby. So we tend to use pacifiers more. As far as which pacifier company, Bibs is legit, but so is Ma'am. Like honestly, when you sign up for these baby registry programs, sometimes they'll send you a baby box. Go for it. Try every pacifier that you have because I'm going to tell you now, I have a pacifier, I have like a whole tray of good stuff over here. Every baby prefers different pacifiers because of the place that it hits on their tongue. I know you guys didn't think about this. I did because this is what I do for a living. So this is a bibs pacifier. So some babies like this, where they have the fatter bulb at the end with kind of like a longer little shaft here and then the chubbier bulb. But some babies like one that's curved up because they have a higher palate. Every baby prefers something different. Just know that Bibs does have a multi-pack, which has different like shapes and different textures in one pack. So register for that. There you go. As far as receiving blankets, I love me some receiving blankets. I use them so many ways. I use them sometimes to prop up a mom's boob while they're breastfeeding because you guys are going to be super sweaty after swaddle sacks or swaddling blankets or whatever. When you're looking, if you notice the number that I have, you want to think in sets of 3. Okay. Three per baby and definitely six per baby of things that we're going to have to wash a lot. Why we use think about sets of three: one in use, one in the wash, one that's ready to be in the backup. Okay, so if you're going to buy crib sheets, if you're going to buy socks, hats, onesies, minimum three per baby, hence why we have six plus. Okay, guys? And then have any of you had a discussion about cord blood banking with your doctors? So if you guys don't know, we have been huge advocates of cord blood banking. I have always been since I discovered that it existed. And do you know why? Because I'm actually a family that would have used my cord blood and didn't get to because I didn't even know it was a thing. So we have been partnering with CBR for well over a decade, and they're just the bomb. And the reason why we specifically partner with them is because they have the most samples and storage, meaning that they have the most to lose. They're also one of the only companies that's involved in all the clinical trials that it comes to stem cells. So if you go to clinicaltrials.gov, if you literally put in cord blood registry, you will see all of the clinical trials that they are involved in. But personally, I really have had two instances that I have been asked if I had my cord blood. So one was when my child was little. So when my baby boy, my baby B, was very, very young, he had a condition that could have been treated by stem cells. And interestingly enough, my husband recently, I would say within the last 3 years, he has a heart condition, and they asked if we had stem cells in storage, which I thought was really interesting because what was happening with stem cells 20 years ago and what's happening with stem cells now is just absolutely remarkable. So if you have not thought about banking, certainly look into it. And the other reason why we go with CBR, they have this thing called the Newborn Possibilities Program. It's probably the number one reason. They have this thing called the Newborn Possibilities Program. You could literally just Google CBR Newborn Possibilities, and they will actually bank for free if you have a family history of certain genetic illnesses. Because once again, those clinical trials, they want the data. So they're like, hey, listen, we're not only going to bank for you for free, we're going to give you 5 years of storage. And we have had plenty of families in Twiniversity not even pay a dollar for their banking because unfortunately they have a history of certain genetic disorders. So just know this is why we play with them. And there is a code that's DUO2, DUO2. You're going to get that in your email as well. But basically, it makes it be like a buy one, get one. So as far as you know, you guys know, influencers are always like, oh my God, use my affiliate code, blah, 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 Natalie 75. What we've done with CBR is we're like, in lieu of a commission or an affiliate commission, we actually wanted them to pass it right on to you guys. So literally, if you use the code DUO2 for any twin family, that's basically the commission that Twiniversity would have gotten. It goes right back to you because seriously, that's really how much we believe in that. Okay. All right. So let's move along. Now, let's talk about our room for two. These are the things that we need, okay? We need cribs, we need mattresses, we need sheets. Sheet savers, I really do think are going to save your back. Waterproof mattress covers, we need changing table pads, we need changing table covers. And what is the last one at the bottom? Oh, baby. What is the last one? It's actually hidden. A baby monitor. Yes, you need a baby monitor. Of course, depending on where your baby is sleeping. If your babies are rooming in with you, you don't need a baby monitor until they're in their own room. All right, but I want to talk about cribs specifically, and I want to talk about gliders specifically. So let's do that first. All right. So when we're talking about cribs, there are really three different types of cribs. There's like a standard crib that you could get for about, I don't know, 127 bucks, which by the way, Black Friday sales for you guys that are going to be expecting, if you're buying your own furniture, definitely want to look into that and start thinking about what you could buy for Black Friday because cribs and mattresses and all that stuff are always on sale. But a basic standard mattress, I mean, a basic standard crib is literally just that. It's just a crib that does nothing but be a crib. Now, notice I did not talk about bassinets. I did not talk about pack and plays. I have gone right to the cribs. And if you say, Nat, why have you done that? Because not everybody could afford a crib and a bassinet. So I just want to let you know when we talk stuff at Twiniversity, we literally are like, listen, what are the things that people have to have? A bassinet is a nice to have because you need to have a crib. All right. So we got standard cribs. It's just a crib. It does nothing else but be a crib. The next type of cribs we have is we have mini cribs. Mini cribs have a much smaller footprint, but they do require a specific size mattress, and that mattress requires, of course, a specific size sheet. So when you are thinking about space planning, a lot of times people are like, oh, my room is so tiny for my twinnies. I'm going to get one mini crib and I'm going to get one standard size crib. I say, do you? I mean, two mini cribs. I'm going to say try to get one standard size and one mini crib. That way, when the kids get bigger, you only have to figure out about getting one more standard size crib. Okay. So we got standard cribs, which use a standard size mattress, a mini crib, which uses a mini mattress, and then we have something called a convertible crib. Hopefully, by now, you've heard this term convertible crib. Convertible cribs do multiple things. So, a convertible crib could be a crib, and then it could be a toddler bed, and then it could be a headboard, and then it could be a bookshelf, and then it could be Optimus Prime. Guys, seriously, when you are thinking about buying cribs, if your budget does not allow for anything more than a standard crib, do not think twice. Okay? Like for real. So many people are like so worried about getting cribs that turn into 27,000 things. Do not even think twice about that. Because for the people that buy the cribs that do convert into bookshelves and do convert into headboards, how many of you guys, just show of pause, how many of you guys, when you moved into your first apartment, when you left your parents' house, how many of you guys took the headboard from your crib into your first apartment? Anyone? Literally. Anybody here? No? Okay. So, exactly. Nobody really does this. It is just a marketing ploy to get you to spend more money. And yes, you can. A lot of them do convert into toddler beds. However, do you know how much better it is to just buy another toddler bed? So the cost of a standard crib and a toddler bed is often less expensive than the cost of a convertible crib. And think about this psychologically, right? When we are moving our kids from cribs to toddler beds, it's not really like a big sell when you're like, okay, guys, today you're going to go in your big boy bed. Yes, it looks exactly like your crib, but we just took one side off. It's not a sell. But if you're like, hey guys, today you're moving into your big kid beds. Yep, look, we got you a Bubble Guppies, and we got you a Paw Patrol, and we got you an Elmo, and we got you like whatever, a Tonka, race car, fire truck, whatever it is. It's an easier sell if the kids have a say in what that bed is going to be. So, right, look, I literally wrote the book on sleep. Huh, that's me. So with Kim West for the record. So yes, I did have a co-author, thank God, because I hate clinical research. So yeah, so just know that when you're looking at cribs, just try to consider getting nothing than just a crib. Okay? All right. So that is it. And there's a lot out there, by the way. There's Sorelay, there's Delta, there's a million of them. Now, when it comes to rockers, this is a place where you guys go a tiny bit wrong. Many of you guys are like planning this perfect Pinterest nursery, which is wonderful, and I'm really, really glad that you are. However, the odds of you fitting in a standard size rocker with a breastfeeding pillow that is specifically made for twins is slim to none. So a lot of times you guys buy this and you're like, oh my God, I wanted to breastfeed the twinnies. I don't know how I'm going to do this with a baby here, a baby here. How am I going to fit? You're not. You're not going to fit in a traditional rocker glider. I have been to many, many families' houses. I do in-home visits with twins all over the state of New York, actually Jersey too, and Connecticut. I travel anywhere if you want a home visit. So there's so many people who have like the world's cutest, best nursery, but it is not practical. Okay, you really can't use it. Yes, you could breastfeed one at a time in the chair and you could pretend that you are a singleton parent. However, I am telling you right now, it is very challenging to fit any twin breastfeeding pillow in a regular size glider. So, this is what we have for you guys. They have chairs that are chair and a half. That's one. And then you could also get like an extra wide lazy boy. Like you could just get a regular recliner. It doesn't have to be like the nursery one. You could get just a glider, but it's got to be a chair and a half. And if you are unsure, if you have stores, remember people used to go to stores back in the day? Go to the store, bring your Twinsy pillow, bring your My Breast Friend double nursing pillow, sit in the chair and see how you fit. I'm telling you, if that's the way to do it. If you live down south, there's like rooms to go. Up here, we have Bob's Furniture. Bring your breastfeeding pillow to any of your furniture stores and try to fit into it in person before you make a $600 investment on a piece of furniture that odds are you're never going to use. How do I know this? Because I freaking did it. That's why, because I am a jerk and I am just like I had a rock. This is actually my baby's room when they were tiny. Oh, it's so cute. And so I had cribs and one rocker and I didn't fit in the rocker. And I don't even know why the hell, like we gave it away with probably within 3 months because I'm like, this is just taking up space and I was just putting laundry on top of it. But I couldn't actually feed both of them with a bottle or breast. It was just impossible. So just know that for practicality reasons, you want to make sure that you get a chair and a half if that is some kind of experience that you want. The other thing you could look at if you're getting something for the baby's room, get a love seat. Just get like a little love seat, maybe even a love seat that opens up into a twin bed. There's even some that are available on Amazon. Like I just bought one recently that I think it was like 300 bucks and it is a chair and a half that the foot pulls out and it turns into a full-size twin bed. That's perfect for me because I needed a little extra seating space, but I really needed an extra bed, but I don't have room for an extra bed. So I got this and it's been working out great. If anybody wants that link, tell me and I will literally show you a picture of the specific one that I bought. All right, now, if you're like, how does Nat know? How am I staying up to date on all these things? Have you guys thumbs up if you've heard of the 20 awards? So thumbs up or thumbs down if you've ever heard of the 20 awards. So the 20 awards is an award that we give out annually. And what it is, I will tell you, we're the only people who do it this way. When you look at Parents Magazine or Parents Choice or many other different, even Baby List, many of those companies pay to be a part of this program of being like, I want to be up for an award. So I'm going to give you, 500 bucks to put my swaddle in there. The Twinny Awards are the only peer populated award program that is currently in existence in the United States. This program is literally, we just ask twin families around the country, what is your favorite stroller? What is your favorite, stroller accessory? What is your favorite diaper? We ask them and they tell us. And then based on the most popular answer is how we pick the winners. It is not who we're working with, who paid us to say these things. That is not how we roll. So if you genuinely want to know what twin families are using, check out our 20 awards because that is a peer populated award program and we are one of the only ones of its kind. So when you see that something won a 20 award, no, legitimately, that's literally how it was chosen. It was chosen by you guys. So yeah, it's amazing and I love it. All right, guys, game time. Okay. This is going to be for a copy of the Newborn Twin Sleep Guide. So our game is, are you ready? So thumbs up if you're ready for our game. All right, let's go, kids. All right, so here's our game. Our game is how much will you spend to diaper your twinnies until they are fully potty trained? The question is, put it in the chat. How much will you spend to diaper your twinnies until they are fully potty trained? I will give you a few more seconds. All right, guys, one more round because I know some of you will have delays. I hope you could hear my game show music. So I spent $1.75 buying this sound. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let me start looking at the answers. Guys, you guys are really under. I am disappointed by you guys. So we have had Emily guess 5K, Michelle and Nick 2K, Liana 2,500, Allie 2,350. Very specific. I like it. I'm glad that nobody put cents. It's actually $7,400. So is 4,000 my highest? Sarah is our highest at 5,000 and Emily. So you know what, Sarah and Emily, because you guys both guessed, I'll send you both a copy of the Newborn Twin Sleep Guide. So after class is over, email us at community@twiniversity.com and say, I'm a big winner of this twin sleep book. And the team is going to send you out a copy probably tomorrow. So congratulations. But could you imagine freaking $7,400? I cannot imagine. I love the game show music. I have just so many other fun sounds. This is, of course, one of my favorite. You ready? Hold your ears. There you go. Honestly, I don't know. This is what I do for fun, guys. Listen, it's gonna, I can't see you guys. I'm just gonna have fun by myself. All right, so let's go into feeding. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about, these are all the items that you need for feeding, and know that some of them are going to be covered by your insurance company. So anything lactation related, breast pumps, breast pump bottles, which by the way are like the replacement Spectra bottles, any flanges, any duck bills, any tubing, any breast milk bags, that is all covered by your health insurance. So if anybody needs a link in order to get this processed, you let me know. I will actually, I think it's going to be in your email, but definitely, definitely do not spend money on things that you don't have to buy. And if you have to buy it because they don't have it, like let's say you need like a 17 millimeter flange, and let's say that company doesn't have it, buy it on Amazon, save that receipt, and submit it for reimbursement to your health insurance. If you don't know how to do that, you definitely want to look that up. Okay. Know that our classes, our expecting twins class and our twins breastfeeding class, are both covered by your health insurance. And any of our Twiniversity lactation virtual consultations, I am in network with Cigna, United Healthcare, and Aetna. So if you have any of those insurance companies and you would like virtual lactation support, just buzz me, Google me, and look me up, and you can email me at community@twiniversity.com. Okay, so you got that too. Now, going on to these other items. Now, a washer, sterilizer, dryer. Do you really need one? It is not a hardcore need, but I'm going to tell you, you're probably going to want one. All right. A lot of people are using their dishwasher, but when you, like, let's say if you had a washer, dryer, sterilizer, you may be able to just buy like six Dr. Brown's bottles. Like that's it. And then that way you constantly are using that piece of equipment that is on your table. Now, we recently just did a baby Bretza washer dryer sterilizer versus the Mom Cozy washer dryer sterilizer. I believe it's going to be on YouTube this week, but I will tell you that the winner was the Bretza because the Bretza does not have to be by any place to drain. The Mom Cozy actually has a tube that has to go into your sink, whether it's your bathroom sink or your kitchen sink, or it has to go into a drain if you put it by your laundry room. However, the Bretza washer dryer sterilizer could go on a dining room table. If you live in a motorhome and you want to keep it in the back bedroom and there is no sink, you have no counter space. So therefore you have to keep it literally in the baby's room. The Baby Bretzer washer dryer sterilizer is the only one that we found that has an isolated dirty water tank and clean water tank. Therefore, you do not need to have it directly next to a sink. So just know that that is something that is not going to be online, but we're finding this out on our own because we saw that the Mom Cozy is selling really well. And when I do home visits, I've seen both the Mom Cozy and the Bretza, and they seem to be two very different teams. So we were trying to figure out, well, why would you buy one versus another? Because they're fairly comparable in price. And we found that the Bretza definitely was the winner because people could put it anywhere in their house. All right, so the other thing you need is you need baby bottles. Now, I want to talk about baby bottles for a second. So, one of my specialties as an IBCLC is I work with a lot of babies who have bottle refusal. So, what is bottle refusal? It's basically when your potatoes decide they're going on bottle strike. They're like, I am a NIPS only household. They're like, that's it. We're not doing bottles. And so when we recommend bottles, it's funny because we recommend Dr. Brown's bottles all the time. However, I will tell you that Dr. Brown's bottles are not created equal. So when we are showing you guys, if you guys have, how many of you guys have heard the triangle test? Right? So pause up or thumbs up if you've heard of this whole term called the triangle test. And so what the triangle test is, it's when you're buying a bottle, you want a bottle top that is most similar to a nipple. And so that being that when you make a triangle with your fingers, right? So when we make a triangle with our fingers and we put it over the bottle like this, it fills as much of the bottle as fills as much of the triangle as possible. Here, I will show you. I have a Tommy Tippy nearby. Where the heck was it? That's my least favorite bottle. I don't know. You know what's funny? I did. I had a like for this bottle refusal class, I had to literally drink out of six baby bottles, and of course I just had them randomly in the house. But I will tell you, like Advent, no bueno. The Nook, even too mushy. I mean, there's a lot of bottles that are just not great, but the Dr. Brown's has always been the clear winner. And yes, they are a partner in today's class, but know that any partner we have ever had at Twiniversity, we went to the partner. Partners don't come to us. We do not accept any unsolicited proposals whatsoever. We don't even entertain it. We make sure that products are super duper vetted. And so, in order for them to be vetted, they have to be nationally available and have a price point that everybody could afford. So, when we were looking at baby bottles, we were looking, and for this bottle class, we were talking about the Dr. Brown's bottle. This one is actually filled with coffee because I use this when I'm doing my virtual classes. But if you look, right, this actually would fill the triangle a little bit better than this guy would. However, I'm going to tell you that this is going to be the one exception to the rule. Because if you look at these bottles, you will notice that this bottle, that the nipple is actually taller. This is much squatter. And so this one is much more in line with a mama's boob. Because when your babies are at breast, they are not drinking out of you like a straw. What they actually do is elongate your nipple. And once your nipple gets elongated, milk just literally shoots out of it. So this is the clear winner. So if you're buying your Dr. Brown's bottles, I recommend the tall, skinny bottles versus the squat bottles. And if you're like, but Nat, this doesn't make sense because I'm going to eventually use a 9 ounce bottle. I will tell you, it is very rare that exclusively breastfed babies will ever go above 5 ounces, where formula fed babies will. So, depending on what your feeding adventure is going to be like, you might want to start off with the 9 ounce bottles, or you might just want to get a bunch of the tiny guys. Entirely up to you. So, or do a little combination of both. But when you were buying the bottles, know too, another thing that's interesting about the Dr. Brown's bottle is that you guys know that it has this venting system, right? But they call it the options bottle because you have the option to use it or not use it. And the reason why is because Dr. Brown's actually has a dual venting system. What? I didn't even know this. And I've been working with them for 14 years. So if you look, like this once again has coffee in it, but if you look at the collar, do you see the little ribbed pieces there? Can you see that? Yeah, you could kind of see that, right? That's a whole separate venting system, which I was like, what? I didn't even know that. So that's why the options works because you could use it with the green piece or without the green piece because Dr. Brown's actually has a dual venting system, which is pretty hardcore. So when you buy your bottles, you want to think like if you're like, I am not buying a sterilizer, I am just going to use bottles, you're going to have at least 8 feeds a day. That's 16 bottles. So you want to have 16 bottles in the house if you do not intend on washing them at all. So just know as far as numbers, that's what you want. And then also, I do recommend that you at least register for a feeding chair. So a feeding chair could be the table for two. It could be, the space saver chairs that could go like for infant feeding. Look specifically to see what's there. Okay. So looks when you're registering, see specifically the age that you could start at because you should have some place to bottle feed two babies at a time. I don't want you doing that in the hospital. I don't want you even really doing that for, I would say, like the first 60 days. But after the babies turn 2 months and we know their feeding style, we know how much they eat, we know when they need to burp, and we really got a good handle on how these kids do overall. You could start tandem bottle feeding. And so you could use bouncy seats, you could use a feeding chair, you could actually use two car seats. There's many ways to tandem feed twinnies. And just know that considering buying a feeding chair is a pretty good idea. Okay. So we already talked about the Dr. Brown's bottles. We already talked about that nipple. So I feel good. Those are the bottles that I do recommend. So I would get the larger ones, but the skinny ones. So Liana said, how many bottles did you say to have? So if you are never going to wash them throughout the day, you should have 16. Yes, that is a lot. Singletons would have 8. We're going to use 16 though. Okay. And that is at least 8 feeds a day is the minimum that you're doing. Now, depending on what your pediatrician says, maybe your pediatrician is like, no, they need to eat, every 2 hours or they need to eat every hour and a half. Of course, you have to follow those recommendations. With those recommendations, then maybe you want to get a few more bottles, but just something else to consider. I will also tell you that the little bottles that the of like Similac that you get, like the ready to feed, you know that the Dr. Brown nipple actually fits on those ready to feed bottles. So sometimes like if the hospital like gives you a bag of those ready to feed bottles and they're like, "Here, take this home. We get a lot of free formula." Just know that you don't need those little nipples. You could use your Dr. Brown's nipple for those. That's what I do in my office. All right, so far, are we good? Anybody have any questions, comments, stressing about anything? Let me know. Put it in the chat right now. Put a paw up if you have any questions. So we shouldn't get 4-ounce bottles. Honestly, Emily, I wouldn't because you're going to eventually be using the 5-ounce bottles. And so if we really have a tight budget, we don't want to have to buy 4-ounce bottles and then 8-ounce bottles. So you may just want to buy the bigger bottles. That's just an idea. If you do, if like money is no object, or I'm getting bottles that are handed down from my sister, just buy new nipples and you could use those bottles for 75 babies. It's fine. Just buy the replacement nipples. But in general, you really want to just make sure that you have enough of what you need. Okay, Michelle said, what do you recommend for sizing initially on a registry? Different size options in case do you do pumping and formula? So I would buy the level one nipple, only the level one. You could register for the level two and three, but do not use anything but the level ones until you are off the boob. So while you're doing a combo of at the tap and bottle feeding, you want to stay with the level one. If your preemies, like if your babies are born preemies, you might want to buy a P for preemie or T for transition. So for Dr. Brown's, it actually goes P is the slowest, T is the next. So P for preemie, T for transition, then one, two, three, and then Y. That's the whole kind of like gamut for Dr. Brown's bottles. And for other bottles, for like Pigeon and Lancino and Even Flow, you want to stay with the lowest possible flow. But even the lowest flow, like let's say you buy the Lancino and you buy the SS for super slow, it's actually faster than the Dr. Brown's one. So it's really it's all like honestly, we should just have a bottle class. I'm telling you, would anybody be interested in a bottle feeding class? We're doing a pumping class, I think soon. But would you guys be interested in a bottle feeding class? Yeah, because the thing is whether you're doing exclusively breast or bottle, it doesn't really matter. Like I am trained in all of that. But know that also for a one-on-one session, if your babies are born and you're like, they're not taking a bottle, they're spitting up, they have reflux, they have foamy farts, they have explosive diapers. These are all things that you should work with an IBCLC for. Okay. And if you do not have an IBCLC lined up for the week of your delivery, guys, you gotta get that lined up. Like for real, because it is not a standard of care in the United States. Is anybody here out of the US right now? So if you're out of the US, it is a standard of care in many European countries where I would just show up on day three. Liliana, where are you? And like, do you have that lined up? Does the hospital just provide that for you? It's Liana. I apologize. I still call you Liliana. I do not know why. I'm just adding extra L's into your names.
Pronouncing it correctly. I'm in Bermuda, and our doula offers that as a service as well. So yeah.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect. See, so it's that is what we need, and that should be standard, but it is not, unfortunately, here on the mainland. Although, Ali and I will be coming to live with you. So please have my room ready. I'll just live on the beach. It's okay. I'm very good. I'm a good cook. I'm great at cleaning a bathroom. You tell me when you're ready, girl. I'll be there. I'll do all help you feed all those babies. So good. Thank you. Actually, that's my daughter's dream is to open up a special ed school in the Caribbean. So let's see what happens in another 10 years or so. But we went on a family vacation and she's going into special ed. And she was very upset to find out that most of the education that's down in the Caribbean is just general education. So you never know. We really may be living with you soon. So when it comes to bottles, I will talk to the team about adding a bottle feeding class because there is a lot of specifics that go with bottles as to pace feeding and how much to start with a bottle. How do you know when to add more to a bottle? But once again, one-on-one, even during pregnancy, you could book that all with me. Know that your lactation coverage actually starts now. It isn't just after you have the babies. So if any of you are like, Nat, we need to know like what pump to get, what size flange I have, any of that, community@twiniversity.com, and they'll give you a link to book a direct visit with me. Okay, so let's go to the out and about. we need a few things. Now, parents of twins have multiple strollers, which you're going to see on the next slide. But when you're buying a stroller, I do recommend that you get two. Now, typically, we found that people have up to, this is going to sound crazy, they have up to six. Is that necessary? No, it is not necessary whatsoever. Two, fine. Three, we're pushing it. But we want to think about a double snap and go if your stroller is not compatible with as a travel system. How many of you guys that are here have already bought your stroller? If you're like, I already bought my stroller, this is the stroller that I bought, throw it into the chat right now. Okay, so put it in there. And I will try not to poop all over your stroller. But if it is not a good choice, I may actually tell you that it's not a good choice before we start opening boxes. So when we're looking at strollers, okay, we do need a snap and go, and then we do need a full size double stroller, okay? All right. Yeah, anything in Bermuda, seriously, if there's a way that I could buy something for you and put it in UPS, just let me know. I have no problem with that. Literally, I live by a UPS store. And anybody who's out of the country, if there's something that Twiniversity could do for you, you just let us know. Like, sincerely, I know that sounds crazy, but if I am okay with sending Trader Joe's ginger dressing to Canada, trust me, I will find a stroller for you guys. So let's talk about strollers a little bit more. Wait, I want to talk about strollers. I don't want to talk about car seats yet. Okay, here are the different types of strollers that are available. So we're going to go from the top corner. So for me, it's going to be the left corner and we're going to go down. That is a double umbrella stroller. Okay, so that's a double umbrella stroller, which is always going to be a side by side. And the difference of an umbrella stroller is it accordions up and takes up a lot less room. The one next to it is a standard side by side, which means that you cannot configure the seats any other way. It is a hard shelled frame with a double wide chassis. Then the one underneath that, going underneath the umbrella, that is a tandem stroller. It is not an inline stroller. We actually don't have an inline stroller on there. The difference between tandem and inline is tandem is both seats are at the same level. Inline is one seat higher than the next. The next one is a wagon, Larktail wagon. Shout out. Love that wagon so much. That is like, honestly, the Cadillac Escalade. Is that even the Bentley? Let's say the Bentley of wagons. Then underneath that is a double jogging stroller. And then finally, we have a single stroller. So when you're looking at any inline stroller or what you guys consider a tandem stroller, is that if your stroller could come in a single configuration, meaning that when you look on the website of that company, if it is a single stroller that you could buy a double seat for, like buy an additional seat, unfortunately, guys, that is not a twin stroller. That is a 1+1 stroller. And the difference of that would be that there's not only going to be there, odds are, I shouldn't say not only, odds are both seats are not going to hold the same amount of weight. And then odds are your babies are not going to be able to take a nap at the same time, meaning that the two seats cannot be reclined at the same time, especially when your kids are wearing hard-soled shoes. Now, this is where I get paid the big bucks. I cannot tell you the amount of companies that have pitched Twiniversity to say, hey, we have this great stroller. It's going to be great for twins. It just happened. We went to Vegas in May and there were all these companies that had all these strollers and they're like, Nat, you got to come see this. We went to go see everything, but not one of them was actually a twin stroller. And so when we're like, we can't work with you, that's not a twin stroller. They're like, but wait, we have a budget, we have marketing. I will not accept a dollar from any company if it is something that I do not think you guys would really use or should be using. And really the key word is should. So when you're looking at these strollers, literally, I can't even tell you if it was a 1+1 stroller, that's not a twin stroller. And even the Upper Baby, they make like an adapter that gives you more room from the first seat to the next. And that was like their big compromise. But that's not a compromise because both seats can't hold the same amount of weight. And if you have babies that don't have a size discordance and you have identical twins, let's say, if they're identical, they're going to be within a pound or two of each other. Odds are they're going to be a pound or two of each other anyway, which means that that stroller is only going to be good enough until you exceed the maximum weight of the heaviest baby. So for me, it really is important that you pay attention to the fine print of any strollers. Okay. Like you really got to make sure that you're seeing how much does it hold? How much do both seats hold? How do I wash this? How do I get to the basket? Where are the baby's feet going to be? Because if it's an inline stroller, that means you don't actually have a basket. So the baby is sitting virtually in the basket. So if you are not going to use a travel system, then you really do need to look at the double snap and go. This is like one of the most popular products of all the twin universe, no matter where you are in the world. And there's only one company that makes it, and it's Baby Trend. So Baby Trend makes a double snap and go, which basically is, they really should call it a strap and go, because it's not only used with a car seat that maybe you like, maybe you got one from your sister and maybe you bought one new, but just because on the website it says like you can't use it with these car seats. First of all, it's not going to say that. They may have recommended car seats that it could be used with, but pretty much every car seat on the market is going to be usable with this travel system, because you could see that the straps that are there, it doesn't only click into place, but you actually use the strap to go over it. So many people do start with this. And if you have limited space or you have limited money, this is the only thing that you should consider, because you need car seats. Nobody's getting discharged from the hospital without car seats. Even if you live within walking distance of a hospital, they're still going to want to do what's called a car seat test in the hospital, where basically what a car seat test is, they put your infants in the seat to make sure that they could breathe okay. If basically their trachea collapses, God forbid, and they don't pass a car seat test, you can't take those babies home yet. They need another minute to get a little bit stronger. So when it comes to strollers, think about who is using it, how you're using it, what my budget is, and is that stroller really appropriate for us? And if you can't answer those questions and your stroller is still in the box, then maybe you should give me a buzz, okay? And be like, Nat, we bought this, but grandma is going to be watching the babies. Like, could your mom actually lift up that stroller and put it into the trunk if she needed to? Right? Because sometimes we have grandmas that are basically nanny, right? Maybe your mom is watching the Twinnies 2 days a week when you go back to work. Maybe the other times you're working from home. Could they pick that stroller up? Do we need to get another stroller for the days that grandma's there? All right. So that's just my little stroller thing. I know way too much about baby strollers because this is such a big ticket item. And like, if you're like, Nat, why don't you guys work with Bugaboo, right? Not everybody could afford a $2,000 stroller. And I never want somebody coming to a Twiniversity class saying, you recommended this stroller and we can't afford it and it made me feel bad. Never. I could never sleep. I can never sleep. I can never sleep knowing that anybody felt lesser than because they couldn't afford something. Because at the end of the day, we could only do what's best for us and our family. So when it comes to the best stroller for travel, it depends, right? Like maybe you want to get two singles for travel. Maybe you don't want to have a double, because not every airline will actually gate check a side by side double stroller. If you go to Disney, not every double stroller is actually going to fit in the main gate of Disney. Did you guys know that? How crazy is that? How crazy is that you could buy a double stroller that doesn't fit through a standard doorway? So you have to make sure that whatever stroller you're purchasing, that it fits your life. It's not just something you saw on TikTok. It's not something that you just heard another twin mom talking about. You got to measure your doorway, measure your trunk. How many pounds is it? Could you lift it? Where are you going to store it? How do you clean it? There's a lot of questions that go into a stroller. And I'm sorry if I just overwhelmed you and made you get stressed about your stroller. It is not as stressful as it sounds. There is really a good amount of double strollers that are out there that are really, really exquisite strollers that are of multiple price points. So if you go to, I think it's amazon.com/store/twiniversity, you'll see all the double strollers that we recommend that basically have been vetted by twin families just like you. So that's that. So know that we do have plenty that are out there. So now, how old can a double jogging strollers be used from? Usually it's about 6 months plus. But the problem with a double jogging stroller, which you may not which maybe you have to think about a little bit more, but Liana, since you might be on a beach more than the average bear, you want to make sure that you get air tires that are going to be able to push easily on sand. One of the biggest issues that I have with jogging strollers in general is, think about this. When you're here, let me go back to that slide two back. So when you are going up and down a curb, let's say, or going up and down a ledge, I don't think I'm going to have time to get to car seats today, unfortunately. But when you're going up and down a curb, if you look at the other strollers, you always have two wheels that you're going to land on. The jogging stroller, you're only going to have one wheel. So you're not going to have that same stability that you would have. I don't know how many curbs there are by you. But if there are like a lot of sidewalks in your neighborhood, like here in New York, I'm going up and down curbs all the time. And even in Disney, you're going up and down curbs all the time. You want to make sure that you always have that stability. So looking at rocky roads and sidewalks, if you live on a trail, you definitely 100% want to get a stroller that has air tires, not forever air, like legitimate air tires. So you're looking at the Valco Twin Tri-Mode, you're looking at the Mountain Buggy, and you're looking at the Bumble Ride Indy Twin. Those would be the three that have the really, really good air tires. Okay. All right. I know we have so much more to cover, and I'm pretty much on with time. So now the next thing is, you got it, my love. Anything else you need, just message me, call, text me, and know that the Zoom ID is actually my cell phone number. So if you guys really do have questions, you actually could like text me directly. I know that that's crazy to say. So when we're looking at playtime, you want to look at infant carriers and you want to look at baby gyms and play mats. Tummy time is so freaking important. Guys, I can't stress this to you enough. Think about this. For those of you that are towards the end of your pregnancy, you know how like, or even the beginning of your pregnancy, you know when your bump gets to be a certain size and you feel like a turtle that got turned upside down and you're like, oh my God, I can't turn. I'm so uncomfortable. I can't sleep correctly. That's what your potatoes feel like. So we give them more tummy time. We have them use their little muscles. We have them feel like be able to use their bodies. So tummy time is not just for their tummies, it's for their backs, it's for fine motor, it's for gross motor. Tummy time is awesome. So you should try to find a playmat that could accommodate 20s. Most playmats only could accommodate one at a time, and that drives me nuts because then you got to have two playmats. But looking at the Love Every, there's actually quite a few companies out there. Skip Pop makes a really large one. Fisher Price makes a really large one. But try to buy one playmat that both 20s could go on because your 20s are going to love to interact with each other. So if I have a 20 here and a 20 here, they're going to lift at their head and try to talk to each other, and your heart is going to melt and your ovaries are going to explode, and you're going to be like, I'm ready for my second set, which, by the way, you know is a thing, right? You know that many twin families have a whole other set of 20s. So be careful there, kiddos. And don't think that breastfeeding is going to make you get away from that. Now, when it comes to carriers, this is the only carrier that we really will represent here at Twiniversity because all the other twin carriers out there start way too late. And we know that when you guys need the most help is at birth. So the WeGo twin carrier, which I would 100% strongly consider, this is what I get from my family that has 20s. And yes, I do have plenty of family members that do have 20s, but this is the only carrier that's suitable for 4 pounds and up. Most carriers start at either 7 or 8, but a lot of our 20s are born in the 5 pound mark because, hi, 20s, but this is the one that starts at 4. So if you're planning on registering for a twin carrier, this is the only one that you should look at. You should also consider getting two singleton carriers because then when you guys are going for walks outside, you go to the farmer's market here in the city, we jump on the subway, we jump on the bus, we go to the zoo, we do things. It's nice to have two separate structured carriers, but in the very beginning, when they're super duper teeny tiny, the WeGo is legit and really freaking awesome. So you definitely want to take a look at that. Now, before our classes ended, know that we do have a Twiniversity class special. We offer it at all our classes. Unfortunately, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, this doesn't apply because this expires at midnight, but we do have $100 off a class. If for some reason your insurance doesn't cover the class, and remember, Cigna, United Healthcare, and Aetna, I am in network with all of those. Our classes are covered by all of those. But if you do not have that, we should be able to give you a super bill to get reimbursed by your insurance. But this way it's even less. So for $100 off, we have 103 videos and you could watch at your own pace for 9 months. So you watch it with your mother, you watch it with your partner, you watch it with your neighbor, you watch it with your sister, watch it with everybody. We do not care. We want anybody who is going to help you with the babies to make sure that they have the right information. You could watch watch it on your mobile device. You could watch it on your TV and just project it right on there. But we do have a ton of information. Plus, all the stuff that's in the Ready Registry guide is in the class. So, something to consider, guys. So, grab that QR code. I'll give you 3 more seconds. 1, 2, 3. It's gone. All right, guys. So this is the Ready Registry that I told you about. It is 50% off for today. This is what it is. I do not have it bound. I really do need to get another bound. But like this is what I was talking about, like how to feed your 20s, like the different ways that we could feed our 20s. We talk about like twin specific products, but not like what the company is telling you is a twin specific product, but like legitimately what we know is real products. Because, like I said, just because they say it's for twins, please do not believe them unless you see it here at Twiniversity. Because odds are it's a 1+1 product, and 1+1 does not equal 20s. Our recommended car seats on Amazon store link as well. Yes, we have a bunch of stuff on the Amazon store link. You don't have to obviously buy anything there, but that's an easy way for me to get information to you guys as we just update the store page as often as possible. So this is what else we have coming up, okay? So we have the November 11th. If you guys don't know, we have a monthly meeting every single month, okay? So this month it's going to be November 11th. It's always the second Tuesday of the month. You could mark it on your calendars. The only time we don't do it is in August because most people are off. So every single second Tuesday of the month, we meet up on Zoom and we have a new topic each month, and it's either myself or Lauren that runs it. And Lauren, I'm ripping out my earring. Lauren is not only a doula. I just realized I covered my microphone and ripped out my earring at the same time. Could I get this back in my ear? Yes, I can. Can I uncover my microphone? Yes, I can. So know that please join us for that monthly membership. Okay. The other thing is we have boob camp. So if you are planning on breastfeeding, you got to mark your calendars for November 17th because that is a basically like a 75-minute course on breastfeeding twins. And I really will get you started. And then on December 8th, we have our Twiniversity sleep class, which is for 20s that are 6 months plus. Thank you so much to not only our partners today, but really to you guys for spending this afternoon with me. I know that a lot of you are taking this as your lunch hour, so thank you so much for being with us. But if you guys have any questions, comments, anything that you feel we didn't cover enough, just email us at community@twiniversity.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment down below, like and subscribe, blah, 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 all that jazz. And until next time, guys, see you later, alligators. Thank you so much for watching.